For the record, it's 5:15 p.m. on Thursday, February 11th, 2016, and the Wenatchee City Council is out of executive session. I will call the meeting to order, and the first item is to do the pledge to our flag. Councilmember Kulas, would you lead us in the pledge?
I'd be honored. Would you all please rise? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Kulas. For roll call this evening, Councilmember Harold is the only one absent tonight, working on the Apple Blossom selection pageant for Saturday evening. Consent items tonight. First item would be our agenda, vouchers, and minutes from the previous meeting.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion that we approve the consent items consisting of this evening's agenda, the vouchers as presented, and minutes from previous meetings.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Kulas, second by Councilmember Poyer to adopt this evening's consent agenda as presented. Questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up would be citizen comment. Any member of the audience wish to address the council at this time? Seeing no takers. Favorite time of the year, presentations, St. Patrick's Day Parade. Tom and Dave, come on up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Bet.
For the record, Dave Harold, Resort Radio, Sunny FM.
Tom Urban, downtown Kiwanis.
And I don't know what annual this is, but it goes back to 1981, as Mayor Frank Kuntz knows, with Mr. Jim Lynch.
Yep.
And he continues the tradition, leading our parade, which we invite you to do, as well with hopefully the son of Mayor Lynch.
I think Tim is around still, yeah.
Tim, we
Yes.
hope will also be there.
Good.
March 17th, Thursday, will be around 7-ish.
7-ish.
And we have made the proper application to the city with a payment of $50 to Tammy. It's all done, plus
We
$1
were
million.
told that someone had got in to get a parade permit because they were all scattered about the office.
It was on her desk. Tammy put it on her desk. So she has the $1 million protection
Okay.
for the city from our insurance company. And you have a little special request.
Yeah, I actually have a special request of the mayor, if we could. First, I would like to say that it really bothers me that we're right in front of the National Spay and Neuter Month.
Would you rather be after?
Did you people do that on purpose? I know we've gotten out of hand down there sometimes, but come on. No, our special request this year, if we could, since Chief Tom Robbins is retiring, we would ask the mayor that he be able not to drive his car, but walk with you down the parade route.
Absolutely.
He's worried that we may have to send ambulances down to the end. We thought maybe we'd have him drag an anchor or something like that.
We might have
How
to
about
pay.
if I take him down in a wheelchair?
That would be great.
Yeah, well, we were thinking we'd have to paint Ballard maybe green.
I could let go of it and he might just go right down.
Yeah, he
all the
would.
way
He would
to
go right
Hines.
on down the street.
Yeah.
So if that would be okay with the mayor and city council, we would like
Absolutely.
to do that.
Take his
Normally, he
bullets
drives
away,
his
though.
squad car
What's that?
down.
No bullets. Take his bullets away.
Without any further ado, basically, we just want to invite the entire city council and the mayor, and of course, make special recognition to the police chief during that event.
Please.
And
And
thank you for
we
blocking.
actually have council that night. It's a work session and we're going to make it short enough that we can all get down
You
there.
guys can all come down. Obviously, we are all invited, and we expect the road to be paved in gold.
So what's your thinking? Who's your candidates for the potential?
We
grand
have,
marshals?
we'll be having a special executive session ourselves shortly with the Hibernarian
Council.
Council.
Yes.
And that will be in the paper and on the radio shortly.
And I'm with this year, the way things are working out politically wise, I think we have some
Yes.
great candidates.
It's an open field.
Yeah, oh boy.
You candidates,
I can't wait.
few candidates are out of the race, so you never know. They may be. Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you very
time.
much for your time.
Thanks, Labs.
You bet.
You guys want to stay for the National Spade and Neuter Month proclamation?
That scares the hell out of me.
You know, Tom, if anyone says they want to take you and tutor you, you better,
Takes a lot, but
Thanks, guys.
Green dog tree parade.
They better be there when
All right, and the next agenda is the National Spade Month proclamation. Councilmember Poyer gets to read that into the record today.
So
And
the
then Dawn is here, so-
proclamation, whereas pets provide companionship to 65% of U.S. households, and whereas 2.4 million healthy and adoptable cats and dogs are put down in animal shelters each year due to a lack of critical resources and public awareness, and whereas nearly 90% of pets living in poverty and 98% of community cats are unaltered, and whereas spaying and neutering has been shown to dramatically reduce the number of animals who are put down in animal shelters, and whereas programs exist to assist with the cost of spaying and neutering pets living in poverty and community cats, and veterinarians nationally and locally, animal protection organizations and private citizens work together to advocate the spaying and neutering of pets and community cats through World Spay Day in the United States and throughout the world in 2005. And veterinarians nationally and local animal protection organizations and private citizens have joined together again to advocate the spaying and neutering of pets and community cats on World Spay Day of 2016. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Wenatchee, Washington, that February 23rd, 2016 is designated World Spay Day. The mayor is calling upon the people of Wenatchee to observe the day by having their own pets spayed and neutered, or by sponsoring the spaying and neutering of a pet in need. This will be passed by the City Council of the City of Wenatchee and approved by its mayor this 11th day of February 2016.
Hi, Dawn, come on up.
Hey,
How are you?
wonderful, thank you
Nice to
so
see you
much.
again. Your hands are warm. Can you hold hands for a little bit? You're welcome. How's everything going at the?
It's great, and if I may just
Yeah,
take a second,
absolutely.
I wanted to let you know that this is a focus of a new program that we're putting together this year in 2016 to coordinate with other national organizations. It's called Pets for Life, and that means that we help to keep people and their pets together when they need each other the most. So that is programs such as spay and neuter. We have a low income voucher program for spay and neuter. Last year alone, we spayed and neutered over 900 cats in our community right here. Many of those were feral community cats, as we call them. So thank you very much. This helps support our program.
Thanks, Dawn.
Okay,
Thank you,
thanks.
Dawn.
All right. Got a few action items this evening. First is regarding an agreement with Chelan County PUD. Captain Doug Jones, it looks like Tom Robbins. Are you doing this one?
I think I need the agenda, because I didn't think we were on it, so.
You're on it. This is so we can provide policing for in the PUD parks.
So, yeah, we just did that. Apologize for that. And I'm Chief Tom Robbins, Wenatchee Police Department. Good afternoon. Motion for the City Council to approve and authorize the mayor to sign amendment number 6, the service agreement 6A number 10182 with Public Utility District number 1 for Chelan County, Washington. It's the enforcement agreement for us to do law enforcement in the parking lots, to write parking tickets and that sort of thing. So just to renew the agreement.
And we do some overtime stuff down there, guys on bikes and stuff, patrol a little bit.
Right. Sometimes they want to use the bikes on the trail to do enforcement. So the bikes, they hire bike officers on overtime now and again, not on a regular basis, but certain weekends, that sort of thing.
Sounds like when it came up in public safety that it's been working well and PUD wants it to continue and.
Right. Works very well. One of the issues they had in the lot where the boat launch is there is that, of course, they need the room for the pickups and the boat trailers to park where the lanes are there. And they're having trouble with people coming in to Pybus, like for the farmer's market in the morning and that sort of thing, and parking in those areas. And there wasn't room for the boats and trailers. So that got to be a big issue. And that's what kind of got this agreement going in the first place as far as the parking tickets were concerned, because we didn't have authority to write tickets in there. So that's what the agreement's for.
No, I think we did that, was it last year or year before?
Yeah.
To do that, and that seems to have
Right. It was initiated last year.
cleared that up, and they're not having the problem any longer on that.
Yeah, it's working well.
Good.
Well, Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the City Council to approve and authorize the mayor to sign amendment number 6 to service agreement SA number 10-182 with the Public Utility District number 1 of Chelan County, Washington.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Huffaker, second by Councilmember Markart to approve the mayor's signature on service agreement SA number 1082 with the PUD.
In your honor, I'm going to recuse myself on this item.
Any questions or comments for the chief? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Glad you were here. Mr. Erickson, we're going to start some engineering on Hale Park.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dave Erickson, Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Director for the city. So in 2014, we applied for a State Recreation Conservation Finance Office Funding Board grant, and we were successful. And this is for the Hale Park project. Last fall, the city accepted the grant, and so that kind of started the project. So the next step in this process was to do a request for proposals for engineering services. So we advertised last January and received 6 really good proposals from folks from local and outside of the area. And we had an evaluation committee made up of myself, Gary Owen, the city engineer, Matt Leonard, the Public Works Operations Supervisor, and 2 of our Parks Recreation Advisory Board folks. Take a look at the proposals, and then based on the qualifications, the experience, some of the other factors, from that, Pacific Engineering rose to the top for this project. And so we're seeking a motion to authorize the mayor to negotiate and sign an agreement with Pacific for the engineering and construction management for this project. The funding for this comes out of the state grant, and it'll move us along toward construction.
And construction should be next year sometime, you're thinking?
It has to be done by the end of 2017. So the preliminary schedule, just in their proposal, showed it being done by the end of this year. But as construction projects go, I would say by the end of 2017 is more likely.
And refresh my recollection of what part, this is the off-leash dog area and what else?
This is the off-leash dog park. It is a grass area to the north of the bridge, the footbridge. So some landscaping, irrigation, grass, trees, shade trees. It'll be installation of water utilities, and then we're going to put in an optional budget item if budgets come in at the time construction happens. If they come in favorable, then we'd also include parking. But in our planning level cost estimates, it didn't look like that would work. So,
Okay. Any questions for Dave? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Well, your honor, even though I don't own a dog, but I love the little 4-legged creatures, I think it's about time we have something like this getting started for people's pets. So I make a motion for the city council to authorize the mayor to negotiate and sign an agreement with Pacific Engineering for engineering and construction management for the Hale Park Phase 1 project.
Second?
Motion by Councilmember Esparza, second by Councilmember Bailey to authorize the mayor's signature on the agreement with Pacific Engineering for construction management for Hale Park Phase 1. Questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Cliff Burdick. Code Enforcement Board.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm here tonight to request council pass Resolution 2006-10, appointing Don Files to the Code Enforcement Board. If this resolution passes, this will give us 4 members back on our board, and we're still looking for 1 more. Don has served on working for the city for many years, retired, and he wishes to continue his service to the city by serving on the board. Does anybody have any questions?
I think he'd be really good.
Enjoyed having him at the Jurassic Parliament session the other day.
He's already
so-
been here, yeah.
Yeah, so he's right there, so. Well, Your Honor, I move that we adopt resolution number 2016-10, appointing a member to the Wenatchee Code Enforcement Board, Don Files.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Bailey, second by Councilmember Huffaker to appoint Don Files to the Wenatchee Code Enforcement Board. Questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Cliff. North Wenatchee Master Planning. Who's gonna, come on up, Glenn.
Sorry to interrupt.
Come on up, Gary, get the whole team that interviewed this group.
So good evening, Allison Williams, Executive Services Director, Gary Owen, City Engineer, Glenn DeVries, Planning Manager, and we were 3 of the 6 members that interviewed for the North Wenatchee Plan. What I did notice is in your packet, the map did not come through of the planning area. So Tammy is back looking at, are you all familiar with the planning area that this encompasses?
It'd be nice to see a map, though, just.
Yeah, so she's
Okay.
going back to the original document and pulling a map. So we, Steve King actually managed the request for proposals. They were due back in December. We received 7 responses. And we, as a team, got together and whittled the responses down to 3 proposers and interviewed the 3 over about a week and a half, 1 each day. And tonight we have a recommendation to offer the contract to Crandall Arambula. When we interviewed, and we can each provide our perspectives, it was a really good interview process. I, for one, was really, each interview seemed to get progressively better. Crandall Arambula was the last interviewee. And from my perspective, looking at the redevelopment potential of the area and the potential that we would have a tax increment financing district for this area if that gets through the legislature this short session, yes, that's perfect. Their team member from Urban Advisors was really strong in regards to the pro forma analysis and doing the necessary data analysis to look at the potential uses and to look at the redevelopment potential and to be able to work with developers and help them understand what could go back into their properties. And then the lead group, Crandall Arambula, they did a really good job. They've done a number of urban and not so urban, as they reminded me when they said, wait a minute, we worked in Whitefish, Montana, because their other projects are very urban and in Canada and other places, but really looking at good revitalization schemes, looking at combining transportation and land uses. So I said too much. You guys go forward.
No, you did great. I think these guys knocked it out of the park for the ones that we listened to. And they didn't bring their engineers with them, which I kind of liked. The other ones brought their engineers with them. These guys, because, this is more of a planning thing. There's going to be some engineering with utilities and access. We know that. But I think what we're really after is, what can you realistically bring to this area and make work? That needs to happen before you get into the nuts and bolts and details of the engineering. So, they looked at the city. These guys haven't done any work around here, but they did a bunch of preliminary work, you could tell. They looked at our downtown, they looked at our waterfront, they looked at a lot of our sub-area plans. They see what's developed, they see the new apartments. They saw the new apartments down there at 9th and Riverside. They know the Pybus. They were familiar. They had some suggestions on how, we got great plans and, they had some ideas on how we could help implement them even better. There were a lot about implementation, which I think is what we were looking for. And there were 6 or 7 of us, and it was so unanimous. These guys were the ones to hire. I don't get excited very often. I really don't. I'm always looking at the worst side of things, but these
We
guys,
believe you, Gary.
and these are and these guys are planners, for crying out loud. But I think I really look forward. At least the principals knew their stuff, and we were very comfortable with the staff that we're going to be seeing. That Steve and Allison probably mostly are going to be seeing face to face through this project.
So we expect a transportation element and a land use and zoning element out of this as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I agree with what has just been said too, and so I won't duplicate it. I really like the mixture of skill sets that these folks brought, and I think they would be an excellent mix One of the things I liked about the examples they gave in other jurisdictions was that folks asked them to come back again and do other projects in their cities. And one of the things I really liked too was that they didn't just look at the study area. Gary already mentioned the extensive research they did in looking at issues and concepts. And they were already bringing ideas to the table at the interview, which was fun. But I liked that they were sensitive to not competing with, but augmenting and coordinating with the strengths of the community. They had, already had a good understanding of some of the constraints and opportunities. It was just a real fresh view and approach. And I think they showed a process that's worked well elsewhere. So again, it was a lot of fun to see, and I'm excited about the potential and support the recommendation.
So we had brought this to Finance Committee. There's a $50,000 curb grant and then a $50,000 city match. And they provided us a budget that would be within that. We did have some discussion with the Transportation Council that maybe there's some ability to partner there. They have some work to do on North Wenatchee Avenue, and they had some really strong statements to make about the context of North Wenatchee Avenue in relationship to doing this plan and the potential addition of Confluence Parkway and how that could influence the whole pattern of that area. So I think the Transportation Council was happy to be involved, and it's going to be a really great process. So if you would recommend that the mayor negotiate and sign a contract with them to develop the North Wenatchee Master Plan.
All right, any questions for any of the staff members that are there?
Where are they home based out of?
Portland.
Is that just a typo? You sure about that? I'm looking at the one I just.
All right, any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion for the council to authorize the mayor to negotiate and sign contracts with Crandall Arambula to develop the North Wenatchee Master Plan.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Kulas, second by Councilmember Esparza, to authorize the mayor to negotiate and sign contracts with Crandall Arambula to develop the North Wenatchee Avenue Master Plan. I will work on that name.
It's Arambula. See, I know that name.
I think that's the one we just.
Any other questions or comments?
So the May, is that what I'm reading here? That's our timeline that we're working on?
Right. Well, and so they will, I'm looking for the timeline that they provided. They will get on their work to do their background work. Is it way in the back?
Yeah, it's in the back, so everything would go out probably one more month.
Okay.
I guess it'd go into September.
Right.
Start in February.
So
March.
getting underway, we've got contracts to do. They'll do their background work, be on the ground here in May, and then look at a plan this
That's
fall.
weird.
Okay, good.
No, that's not the one we did.
All right, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Well, this
Aye.
is.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. See that?
And Allison, 2 members to the Diversity Council.
Oh, did I bring that? I need to go get my.
Emily Gale and Cindy Wright.
Doesn't matter.
I didn't need.
Number. The one who emailed us has 9, and this one has, the original had number 11. So we'll just go with number 9.
Oh, we already have a number then.
Yeah. Well,
So what resolution?
I have a number 11, so I don't know
Okay,
what the.
so
I
that's
don't
the
know
one
what's
that we
going
need to
on.
pass. Oh, so you sent a number 9.
I don't know, mine says 11, so I don't know why you'd have a number 11.
Okay.
What I would do is just approve number 11.
So this is actually resolution 2016-11.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what
That is strange.
Okay.
Okay. So the Diversity Council continues to add members. And so at their last meeting, their authorizing resolution allows them to have up to 16 members. And so they had 2 additional applications at their last meeting. Emily Gale is a teacher, and Cindy Wright works for the DSV, the Veterans. And they were interviewed at the last meeting and recommended for membership. And so Resolution 2016-11 would appoint them to the Diversity Council.
Okay, any questions for Allison? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 2016-11, appointing 2 members to the Diversity Advisory Committee for 3-year terms, Emily Gale and Cindy Wright.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Poyer, second by Councilmember Markart to adopt Resolution 2016-11, appointing Emily Gale and Cindy Wright to the Diversity Council. Questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Allison. Mayor's report. Let's see. I spent last Tuesday morning in Olympia testifying on the Senate side of the what we call the DDA bill, which is tax increment financing for that area that we're just planning for in North Wenatchee Avenue. So it's my understanding it made it out of the Senate Government Committee and it's made it out of the House Finance Committee, but they've got sent to other committees. So I don't know if it's got to go through Ways and Means or some other spot, but we're monitoring that. I think Senator Parlett will have me come over and testify at least one more time. Chelan is working on this as well because they could benefit. As it's drafted, it's unclear that, say, Pateras could qualify because there's got to be more than $10 million worth of damage done due to the fires. So not exactly sure where this is going. It's a short session. We'd really like to have it passed now, but so kind of monitoring that a little bit. The Transportation Council did have its board retreat this morning, and we've kind of committed to spending some money, not doing an environmental impact statement, but kind of a, I don't know what the right term is, a fatal flaws analysis for Confluence Parkway. You know, Confluence has been on our map for, I don't know, a long, long time. And ultimately, it needs an environmental impact statement and then about $150 million to build or some such thing. And we can't seem to get it off the paper. So I think the transportation has decided to fund at least a fatal flaws analysis to see if we could even build it based on new federal law about roadways near park systems and some of that kind of stuff. So we're going to spend a little bit of money hopefully doing that over the next 18 months or so, and we'll see where that comes back. I think if it's still doable, I think the push will be then to do it. If it's not doable, then we'll look for other solutions. But it was good that we kept that. There was some talk about taking Confluence off of the list or not making it the #1 regional priority, and it continues to do that. So I was pretty forceful in trying to make sure that happened, amongst a bunch of other stuff that took place that doesn't need to be talked about. But other than that, I don't know what else, Allison.
We were wanting to make sure we got signups for the WDA banquet, which is on the 25th.
So I'm going, Tammy.
And then we are having a visit from our Korean sister city, Naju. The college is organizing a reception on Tuesday night, the 23rd at 7:30. So they would love to have as many of you there as possible, and they'd like to know in advance so that you can be recognized.
I have to let them know by tomorrow.
Okay.
7:30.
7:30.
23rd, you said.
23rd?
You put me down for that.
I have 7 actually. 7 p.m.
And then Allison, a little bit of where we're at on our public works
Right.
director process.
So we have shortlisted down to 7 candidates, and so interviews are set up. So there are 4 city staff members and 1 outside consultant helping us do the interview. And the interviews will take place over the next 2 weeks. And then we will pare down and meet with the mayor in order to proceed from there.
How many applications did you have?
27.
27. Wow.
Nice.
That's a good sign,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Great sign.
It is.
Yeah, no, it was a good And when we had the 27, so we had Carrie read them and kind of come up with a short list, and Allison came up with a short list, and I came up with a short list, and then we compared them all. And I think for the most part, had the same 7 or 8 that we felt got to the top. So it was a good process just to get it narrowed down.
And Don would like us to finish sooner rather than.
He's loving his job. He smiles coming to work every day. Anything else, Allison, that I've been working on that I can't remember because I forget?
I looked, it's just been really busy on the legislative front. The legislation is moving quickly. We just got a plea today because, the consolidated housing grant was reduced. So they're in the process of putting together budgets. It represented a 30% decrease to our homeless housing providers that provide transitional housing. So we continue to follow that, as well as the DDA bill, as well as the fireworks bill. And these 2 weeks are really the critical time for things getting out of committee. So I think those are the big things.
And one thing I think the council may need, and this isn't probably the right, I'll just bring it up, is I know in that fireworks bill, I've been kind of waiting to see how that might work its way through. And it seems that a number of the legislative changes that are going to be adopted to get it to pass are going to really take the teeth out of a lot of the stuff that 30-day advance notice, only if the governor declares a state of it. There's lots of ifs, ands, or buts to get us the authority. So at some point, we may want to revisit.
Well, we've talked about it several times.
Yeah.
I think we need to quit revisiting it and come up with a plan.
And just do it.
And do it.
Yeah, well, then that's I hear two different things from that. I hear the just do it, and then I hear, well, let's change what we drafted last time and then do it.
Well, what we
And
talked,
I hear two different things when I hear that.
what we talked about was coming up with the ability to allow you to ban fireworks based on the Washington State Fire Marshal or the Fire Marshal's recommendation that the Chelan County already uses. We just don't have the authority to implement that on his recommendation right now. Does that ring a bell with anybody?
That's what you want.
Yeah.
I would go at least that far.
Yeah,
I would
so-
go farther, but I would go at least that far.
I thought that was a good compromise, because then on really wet years, we could still have fireworks sales.
Yeah, and I just don't know, again, we last dealt with it last May, obviously before June and then 4th of July, and then I didn't know if the council had changed its mind. I know that Keith and Brian were gonna work with Steve on perhaps some changes. So again, I don't know where that's going, other than I think if we're waiting for Olympia to fix it for us in a way that is acceptable to us, I think we're not gonna get that.
Yep. They'll be done in a month's time, so
Yeah.
that gives us time to evaluate before
Yeah, yeah.
to integrate a
I just,
schedule.
again, I wanted you to, and we'll monitor that as it works its way through.
But I see no reason to advance anything forward at the council if there's not just some general agreement that we're going to do something.
There is a couple of new council people, and I agree with you, that minimum would be what Keith's recommending.
Yeah.
Minimum.
But that's still-
Don't you want control of it yourself?
Yeah, this isn't really the time to talk about it,
Yeah,
but there's.
Yeah, so let's watch the ledge.
Yeah. All right, anything on the council meetings and stuff that you've been going to and working on?
I went to the Wenatchee Downtown Association meeting, and just tomorrow night they're having their prom night. Their goal was to have 100 people, but as of Wednesday they had 60, so yeah, they were pretty happy. And then the downtown lights, they are very happy with their lights, but other than a couple of minimal complaints, people think it's too bright out there now. It's a light nuisance,
Yeah.
apparently, but
They
you know,
are pretty bright.
Yeah, they are.
it takes time to get used to them, I think, especially when it's been so dark there for so long. So.
Okay.
Well, just,
Go ahead, Jim.
I was just gonna say, from Link Board, just a quick memo, note to self kind of thing. Board is we've hired a consultant to develop really a formal strategic plan, which we hadn't done for quite some time. And so there probably will be some information coming forth on that. But really, the board wants to take a good long-range look at the community and service and 10, 15, 20 years down the road, where do we go, and how are we going to spend resources to get there? So it's going to be a couple of year project probably to get there. So, but there'll be some things coming to you because obviously member cities and so forth want you engaged in that process.
Excellent. Lyle?
Yeah, on the Economic Development District meeting, the main thing that included us was that discover Route 97. It's a website that I'm wanting to investigate because it seems very interesting. It includes everybody from Canada clear down beyond us. I think it goes clear to almost the Oregon border, and very good for tourism. And we're hoping to attract a lot of Canadians down here to spend their money.
Yeah, I know they've been working on that for a while. Mike, anything from you?
Nope.
All right. Anybody else?
We have another electoral process committee meeting tomorrow night.
Okay.
Cafe is planning it, and they have
Tomorrow night's a busy night.
Tomorrow night's a busy night.
Yeah, there's lots going on.
Yeah, and we had a meeting last night, thanks to council members Kulas and Markart for attending, and had a small group, but a very good discussion.
Good. All right, anything else? If not, we're adjourned.